I just saw a video by a creator who was talking about how she saw a video on her FYP of a woman with a really small, modest engagement ring, and the caption on the screen was, "Let's normalize smaller engagement rings," And the woman, she was like, if that's the kind of ring you like, that's totally fine. It's not so much as being okay with something smaller as it is making sure that man actually gets what you likes and pays attention to you. Now, I have over 20 years in the jewelry industry, and I want you guys to hear me out before you comment. I'm sure you probably not even listened and comment already, but for those of you who actually want to hear what I have to say, here I go. The creator made a good point. And she said, if you're fine with a modest, small engagement ring with no diamonds or with a little tiny diamond, that's totally fine. But we need to stop the whole virtue signaling thing that I'm better than you because I prefer a smaller diamond. We need to cut the crap of this programming of always trying to humble women into thinking that we need to be fine and graceful and swan-like and flexible all the time and accepting crap. With that being said, all my years in the jewelry industry, I've met several different kinds of men. Now, the first kind of man, perhaps he's in his 20s, they just graduated high school or going off to college, and he has $100 to a couple $100 that he can afford to get his girlfriend something, and he wants to propose and he's embarrassed. We work together and we get him something that he is proud of, well within his budget. I have met men with tens of thousands of dollars who are the biggest jerks this side of the equator, and I shoot a prayer out into the galaxy that their girlfriend wakes up and leaves them before they get married. Between these two types of men, there are two other types of men who are the absolute worst. Number one, the man who says, my girlfriend wants A, this is the picture of the ring she wants, but I'm going to get B. Or the man, and we're referencing the example that I used at the beginning of the video, the man whose girlfriend is humble and she doesn't care what she gets as long as they're in love. And that guy comes in and he laughs and he goes, she don't care what she gets. She'd be happy with a ring pop. Coincidentally, those men, before they leave the store, ask me for my number. And the point I'm trying to get to is that we need to have some kind of standard, okay? It's okay if you want a 2-carat radiant cut. It's okay if you want your ring set in platinum. It's okay if you want your ring to imitate some kind of royal icon, prince or princess or queen. And it's okay if you want something minuscule, something small. The point is, a man who wants to get what the hell you want. And that is a priority to him. The point is that you have some kind of standard and stop being flip-floppy, weeping willow, blowing whatever direction that the wind pushes you in. I'm just fine with whatever you give me. Yeah, and those types of men know it. They know you don't care. They don't care. And if I was the type of woman who didn't care, then we'd all just be a big fat mess of drama. I want to preach the gospel that women, it's time that we start caring. There is no reward for telling these men that you're okay with less all the time. I always tell you guys, I always know who the pick-me's are. Because if I make a video saying what I'm not okay with or whatever standard that I have, the pick-me's are going to come out like roaches to a little Debbie snack at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to start talking about how I don't care, I don't mind this, I don't mind that, I don't care about this, I don't care about that. As long as I have a man in my life, I don't care about anything. You need to start caring, okay? Giving a shit. While you can have a man who will get what you want and still be an asshole, but I'm telling you, listen to me. Caring and having some kind of standards will weed out a lot more of the jerks a little bit faster. I made a post about this a couple weeks ago. I don't know if any of you remember it, where I say, be a woman who is easy to lose. A lot of us are women who are easy to get. And ain't it sad? It's just unfortunate. Be a woman who is easy to lose. You got paper thin patience or short fuse, and no time to waste. And your standards are higher than a giraffe's forehead. And at the end of the day, it don't take much for you to block somebody. A lot of you guys, for whatever reason, and I'm going to leave that to your therapist or your journal time or whatever self-help book you choose to read, but a lot of you have been told by whoever that you're not worth somebody taking the time, energy, or spending the money on you. So you believe in your mind that you have to take whatever you can get and be okay with it and smile about it. Like the woman said in that video, it is not a flex to brag about just how little you are okay with. When did that? Well, we know when it became a flex, but that's just social conditioning by the patriarchy. Things have to change. And it starts with us, and the bullshit ends with us. A woman who is easy to lose is like, this is what I want. And if you can't provide that, maybe you're not a horrible person. You're just not the one for me. Now, while I don't think we should bring the 1950s or 60s or any prior times back as far as relationships are concerned, especially, there are little bits and pieces of things that we can take from those times. And I miss the times when if a man presented himself to a woman's parents and he didn't have a job and a way to provide, they laughed that man off the doorstep. If you didn't have a way to provide, women would brag about having like 5 gentlemen callers. The idea that I'm single until I'm married or until you get whatever it is that you want, because it might not be marriage. I only want to eat at these establishments. I only, whatever the case may be. And that's not to say that just because a man can afford to do a certain thing that he's automatically going to be better. But I tell you what, if I'm being pursued, I'd rather have a good time during that persuasion. I don't know if that's a word. I just made that up. But I don't want to be pursued at Long John Silver's. And the only ring I'm being given is the ring that man leaves in the bathtub because he don't wash his ass. I don't want my time taken by someone who just doesn't care and they assume that I'm going to be okay with that. No. It is not a flex to brag about how much you don't care and how little that you are okay with. All it does is tell men, oh, you're okay with little? Well, I'm going to give you less. And you're probably going to be okay with that. Be okay with being single and just waiting it out. And stop allowing the fact that you're getting older and all your friends are getting married and you just watched a romantic comedy at the movie. Stop letting that stuff shake you up and warp you into thinking you got to hurry up and rush with somebody. Well, I don't want to be 80 years old and getting married in a senior citizen home. Okay, well then get with the first boob that talks to you and see how that turns out. You're probably going to end up single anyway or miserable for the rest of your life. So be a woman who's easy to lose. Let's start getting some standards and stop bragging about how little we'll be fine with. Ew.